Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good, Bad, and Ugly of Business. I am your host, Catryn Becker. Today, I am joined with life coach extraordinaire, Jenn Colmenares. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. So glad to meet you.
It is so glad to meet you. So full disclosure for everyone, Jenn and I have never met. This is our first time ever speaking. So we will all be learning together at the same time, which is just as fun because I feel like I learned something new, even if it's someone that I've known for ages. So I love this format and this container of discovery that we create together. So this will be fantastic. But Jenn, I understand that you have been a life coach for many, many years, more, way before it became a thing to do. So I would love to hear more about how you came into this and what was sort of that spark that created that for you.
It started in marketing. I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. Have always had the bug. My great grandfather actually was a serial entrepreneur. Really until the day he died, he was 105.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, golf pro working. So it's a lifestyle. It really is just something. I don't know. That's just part of me. So as far as that spirit goes, um, so I started out in marketing, and what I was really seeing is all these women I was helping with their businesses. It was pretty because I was designing, marketing materials and logos and things like that, but they weren't getting out into the world like
Mm.
like I thought, like I wanted them to be. I'm like, you do
Right.
this beautiful design. And that's really when I started discovering that it was there's more to it. It's needing to show up for yourself on that level of leadership for your business,
Mm.
so that you are being successful. So that's really kind of where it started, is like the marketing aspect and just seeing the need for business owners, especially for women, to understand what it is to network and what it is to receive, and that it's okay to grow. We've had all of these limiting beliefs put on us,
Like
that
generational limiting beliefs that have gone on for like eons and eons.
yes, yeah, yes, generational, cultural.
You are my people already.
Yeah. So very business minded. I love strategy, but I mean, let's really talk about it and talk about the energy that's behind it and the manifestations and those limiting beliefs and those glass ceilings that keep us in this little box, and that make us believe that we can't do bigger things and that we can't have a bigger impact. So it really is helping other business owners to see that, to get out of their box, and other women to grow and to embrace what their success strategy is. What is it that you want? What is it that's going to create this joy and this ultimate infinite happiness in your life?
Because
And
it's
that's different
possible.
for everybody.
It's absolutely possible. And I know one of the words that I would hear was delusions of grandeur. And that was some big thing that I had to overcome and still work through of, where am I feeling, is that something that I'm, creating? Is this an illusion? Is this something that I can go for? So I completely relate to that struggle. And I think so many people do, and
Yeah.
particularly women. So I know from what I've seen, that there's been such an awakening of people and awareness. And I think the pandemic really was a huge catalyst for people seeking other things. Like so many people that I know that do more kind of alternative type modalities and healing and techniques came to it because they were so desperate for something else. that, the traditional things weren't working for them, and that's kind of how they fell into it. Was that the case for you, or was it kind of something that you were always open to and it was always part of your life? Talking about manifestation and law of attraction, all that kind of stuff.
I would say, honestly, it's always been part of my life. When my daughters were little and I became a single mom, um, that business was a body work. So I became a massage therapist and embraced cranial sacral and diet, nutrition. I did that. So one, I could be a stay-at-home mom and control my schedule. But two, I was just really drawn to it. I had both of my daughters with a midwife, and that journey just into how powerful our bodies are was just eye-opening. I'd always known it. I'd always been very aware because my mom is on the cutting edge of health and nutrition. Always has been. We juiced before it was even cool. So I do appreciate that. Like, I've always had this awareness of like frequencies and being in line and being in tune with who we are. I have one quick story with my daughters, and really realizing the power of our body and our mind and the connection we have. I weighed 6 pounds, 10 ounces when I was born. And this is so funny. I told my daughter, my first daughter, Hadley, since I was having her with a midwife, that she had to be a small baby and that she could weigh 6 pounds, 10 ounces. And I'm not kidding. She weighed 6 pounds, 10 ounces. So it was that conversation that we constantly had while I was pregnant, and seeing it and knowing, okay, like, this is a great testament and a testimony later on. But yeah, 6 pounds, 10 ounces. And it was like, okay, we can do anything.
We can do anything
that we set our mind to. So that's always, like, I've always been law of attraction. My daughters, in school, we were setting intentions before, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want to skip that grade? Okay, well, let's make that happen. So it was really fun to grow up with that, and to be a mom in that kind of energy,
yes.
They were going to school with crystals in their pockets. So on test days, and their little cheat sheets. So I've always embraced this alternate experience.
I've taught my kids how to muscle test.
I love it. Yes.
Because they always see me doing it. So when I muscle test, I'm not even going to go into muscle testing on this, but if people are interested, you can Google it. There's things on YouTube. I've got stuff on my YouTube channel about it at Journey to Cloud 9, but I always do it one-handed. And so the kids have been seeing me test things forever. And I heard a story from my mom. She was with my son. They went out running errands, and they were trying to figure out where to go eat. And she saw him muscle test and was like, okay, this is where I want to go. And he was like, I tested, the fingers don't lie.
Nope. Isn't that great? I mean, what a beautiful awareness that you're passing along.
Same for you. I think it's so important. Like, just the possibilities, the endless possibilities that these kids can have. And Marvel movies being so popular, and like Doctor Strange, and they're doing all sorts of different stuff on there, and it's seen as complete fiction. And it's like, no, there's some real world inspiration that was used for these kind of movies and these alternate realities, and how we have the power to do things with our mind.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people, I'm like, if you've seen it in the movies, then it's out there for real. Yeah.
It came from somewhere.
It came from somewhere. And it's funny, I have a few meditations that I do now, and I wonder where the images come from. Like, where do I create that view? And the other day it came to me, it was like, oh, it was Star Trek that I watched, like, on TV, like back in the day, like the William Shatner.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
it was those crazy, like, they walked in and teleported into these different worlds. And it's like, that is some of my inspiration, and some of those images that come through in those meditations.
I love it. I love it. And apologies for everyone who can hear my dogs barking in the background. It's, I'm an animal lover and it's a fact of life sometimes. So
like Mix rolled through here just a second ago. So sure.
they're sensing each other's energy. So one of the things that I know, and with people like us who are really focused on mindset and how to control it, there's still times that things come up, that there's different challenges that we have to face. What are some of those challenges that you've had to face, and how did you manage to, overcome them or find solutions?
I think now it really is dropping into my rituals and routines. We all cycle with our energies. I relate it to the moon. So we're in the full moon right now, on the cusp of creation, and what intentions do we want to set for this next cycle. So yesterday and today were a little wonky for me. You just kind of feel like you're in a washing machine, like, okay, where are we going? Like, what's happening? And it really is dropping into that meditation and telling myself that the constant conversations of everything is always working out for my highest and greatest good, period. Everything is always working out, and it's my job to be in this moment now. That's it. That's all I have to do, is be in this moment right now, feel my breath, and have a plan, obviously, but hopefully as a business owner, we have a plan. But for sure to have that plan, but then just to know that I'm being led. And it's my job to sit back and relax into this flow. I am part of the creative process, and I've got to stay connected so that it comes through me. So that connection is the biggest for me, is no matter what, just being able to drop into that.
Because even when, things happen outside of our control, people die and things, just life happens. And I know it's so hard for so many people on how to put themselves back in perspective. So what advice would you have for people as they're, coming into this, they're, having new sort of an awakening of what they can do to help with their mindset?
I think the biggest thing, and the first thing that I tell people is you've got to have a frame of reference that you can shift to. So when you are catching yourself in that moment, going down that rabbit hole, you've got to have a frame that you can grasp, so that you can close the door on that. Nope, that's not serving me. That's not for my highest and greatest good. This is the frame that I'm leaning into. And I say frame because it really is. Like, you imagine holding a picture frame out in front of you, and, just the clear, what do you want to see? What do you want to see in life? Like, you have this control to create that visual that you're seeing this world through. So I would say that that's probably that. For me, that was the biggest, most important thing. Was I would have a rubber band on my wrist, and that is my condition to, like, okay, this is where my intention is, so like now my intentions are, I have a journey starting, and it's going to be 20 weeks. It's 20 weeks of life principles that I'm going to deliver on Monday. And then we'll come in as a community and we'll talk about that principle and how we're implementing it into our daily lives, in a question and answer session, and just create that container so that you can start seeing the life that you want to live, because you have to see it to believe it. First of all, like, you've got to be able to wrap your brain around it, around some pieces of it at least, for
Isn't that
you to attract it.
isn't that such a good point though, that the phrase seeing is believing is such a common phrase, and yet people would never put it in like the context of manifestation?
Right. And I guess it's because it's seeing it here.
Right.
It's seeing it here, not out here.
Not,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. Like my little crystal tree, like, it's gonna come to fruition, but yeah, not because I hang it there, because I can see it here. And that our thoughts have true power. I'm like, we can power a light bulb with our thoughts. So do you want to power a light bulb that's going to take you down this beautiful journey and into this new world of your creation? Or do you want to power a light bulb to keep you in that box so that you can see your boundaries and what's holding you back?
Yep. Yep. I mean, I love to give the example of, most people have had the experience where they have had someone on their mind. They were thinking of someone. And that person either called or texted or emailed, or, they were the first person on the Facebook or Instagram. They pulled it up, and it's like, yeah, you did that.
Yep.
And we just chalk it up to, oh, it must've been coincidence.
No, I was on a call the other day with my group, and I'm telling them, like, be really careful, y'all. I mean, especially around the first of the year, because you're putting that energy into attentions and, creating what you want. So be very careful in those comparisons, because yeah, there's been a lot that's shown up. I mean, even just in the last 5 and 6 days of looking back to release what I wanted to leave in 2022 and embrace what I wanted to bring forward into 23. And there are a lot of little things and people that showed up to get rid of again.
Yes. The lovely cycles of life.
It is cyclical. It really, really is.
Everything in life is cycles.
Yeah. I teach the moon, and that it's elemental. We do cycle. And when we learn those cycles, you can harness even more of this power, because I equate it to like the birthing process. You have that crowning moment where, this is kind of like my last 2 days. Like, it's that uneasiness and that anxiety and that, like, just that busy energy that you don't really know what it is, but it's something, and it's this uncertainty something. And you're like, okay, I've done everything. I'm just going to sit back and know that this is for my greater good. And it's so beautiful every time. Like, you fall into those rituals, you do what you need to do. And on the other side of that, it's like, like, you did it. Like, you hung in there, you stayed focused, you pushed through, and now you get to ride the waves for the next 3 weeks of what you just did and your creations, because you were so intentional with it.
Yes. And I love to use, Feng Shui principles as well, within myself. And it's just exactly that. It's just another way of utilizing our environment and what's happening around us to help to bring forth what's within us.
Right. So when you say Feng Shui, that you use that, so how do you use that, I guess, in a pattern aspect? Because, like, I see like arrangements and things, so I'm curious.
Well, I use it with intention setting.
Okay.
You use Feng Shui. There's different aspects of Feng Shui. One of them called the Bagua, on how you arrange different aspects of your life. And I've taken what they use for overlaying on the home and taking it for our goals and putting it in different areas of our life, and having different spaces within offices, for example, on where you're going to be able to have access to harness the most, positive power, as it were, taking advantage of the orientation of things.
Okay.
So it's less in the
I
cyclical
get you.
stuff, but more in like where you're located currently.
So like, I know that my computer is in the back left corner because that's my most creative aspect in that space.
Yeah. And we can take this offline to like go even deeper. I can share some resources that I really love.
Yeah, I love that there's so much out there.
There is so much.
So much. Because that's interesting. I use a little like tarot and some human design. And then I've also been receiving what is called the creation codes. And that's just kind of a little bit of everything that is coming together.
Do you know the gene keys at all?
Oh, no.
I would love to know how close the gene keys and the creation codes align.
Okay.
The gene keys brings together human design, astrology, the I Ching, all sorts of beautiful pieces. Our DNA, and our biology, talks about amino acids and all sorts of fantastic aspects of it.
No, see, I love this.
I love
it. Because that's so much of it. Yeah, I love human design and our astrology. Like, it all comes together to play a part in why we're here and what we're doing.
Well, I think it's so fascinating too that I was just speaking about this the other day with some family members who just had a baby, and we're talking about, due dates, and out of all of the scientific knowledge, all of the medical breakthroughs that humans have had over the years, we still don't know exactly when a baby's going to be born. Like, the one thing that science knows is that signal to actually have birth does not come from the mother. And how fascinating is that whether it's from the baby, whether it's from, God, the universe, whatever that other is, it's something else saying, this is the moment of my birth. This place on the planet, this moment in time. And so to think that, astrology of like, oh, that's so crazy when you were born, is it? Maybe not.
You came here to do something. So you came in on a mission. So yeah, that's your little portal in, so that you're dropped in right where you need to be right at that exact moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has gone completely in a direction I didn't expect, but I love.
I'll geek out on this forever and ever. And I love introducing women to it. I love that women are like, okay, now wait a minute. You've been talking about this universe thing. Let me tell you what happened. And I'm like, yep. And then they're like, okay, now I want more. Okay, so let's try this. And I'm like, yep. Okay, let's try that too. Okay, yep. Look, it works.
I just love to learn. I've always loved to learn. And it seems like, every time that I'm ready for the next thing, boom, there it is. And there's something else to kind of deepen my understanding, and then being like, oh, but then this thing over here, and then this thing, and then this thing, bring it all together. Boom, 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 boom. So it's magical.
Yeah, it is. I'm so fortunate and blessed to just, I wasn't good in school. So it was like, I thought that I was dumb and couldn't learn or whatever. And it's like, no, I say I've been operating in the fifth dimension since I was like 5. So, and I think that's a lot of like our diagnosis, like the ADD and things like that. Like, I really do think that we're operating on all of these multiple levels, and it's tuning into that to really truly find your path so that it all does come in alignment and you can focus.
And I do have listeners that are not always at the same level. So I do want to have some sort of, let's anchor back, have some sort of grounding as we wrap up this interview of, for the person who's, more in the 3D, they're not maybe totally comfortable exploring these opportunities. What sort of business advice do you have for them that relates to this? Like what aspect of this kind of alternative things could they look at to help their business as it is currently?
I would say that one, less is more. You don't have to go out and do everything and be everywhere to everyone. So come back to yourself. Come back to yourself in your business. Who are you authentically? Who are you here to serve? What conversations do you love having? Let's attract those people. Let's focus in on that and stop chasing the masculine. I say, like, we've lived in a masculine society. I mean, it's been built the last 50 years, and us as women, we've done an amazing job adapting to that masculine system and structure of the way things are done, in the corporate America and business. But that's not everything. Like, it really is that balance between the systems and the structures, because we need that to move forward, and the feminine, like the feminine aspect of doing things in alignment with who you are, who you're here to serve, and knowing and learning to sit back and receive, so that you can really shift that flywheel and stop chasing and going and doing, and become an attractor and a nurturer, and build this success authentically with alignment, who you are. I think that's huge, because that is going to help. That's going to help drive your intentions forward. When you're not having to force it and to go, and you can learn to visualize it and see it, and then what that process is to make it happen and to receive it.
So no matter what business, no matter what industry, corporate America, entrepreneur, men, woman, doesn't matter. Being able to visualize it and to really sit down and have a clear vision, I think is really important, and is something that, as simple and obvious as it is not done.
Well, and we say simple and obvious, but I mean, how conditioned are we to worry?
Yes.
So we are imagining it, we are visualizing it, but we're so programmed to when we go big, we think, oh, that's too big. We can't do that. And then it stifles us. And then we go down that, oh, well, if I can't have it that way, or I can't do it this or that, it just stops it. So it's having that intention. It's having that frame. Again, it's having that frame that you can be like, no, like, I have all this power, and this is where I'm driving the bus. Like, this is where it's going. This is the frame that I'm going to choose to spend my thought power in and on.
You are so correct. Well, Jenn, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your words and your wisdom with everyone here today. We really appreciate it. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to share before we wrap this up?
I think that our lunar cycles, the moon, is a great time to set intentions. So you can always find me. I have a full moon circle and a new moon circle that I do around those times of the month. So you can always jump in and be a part.
And how is the best way for them to find you?
My website, which is helloeden.xyz, and then my name on social, Instagram, Facebook. I'm there. So just drop me a message, and yeah, I'll reach out. We'll be in touch.
Yes. And mention this podcast when you do.
Yes. So I know you're my people. No.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, okay, we got through this whole thing. Like, I already have kind of a framework. It'll be great. I'll also put all of those links in the show notes, so they will be there as well for people to find. But Jenn, thank you again. And for all the listeners, thank you for going through this. I'd love to know more about what you learned, what your takeaways were from this interview. And please like and subscribe and listen so that you will catch interviews like this coming to you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Till next time.